Hello, everybody, and welcome to Speed Gaming. Hope you enjoyed the Z1R Rookie Rumble 2 match that just ended a little bit ago. This is a slightly different type of Z1R match between our three runners. You see here on the screen, you see the screens of F. Coughlin, Fred Coughlin. You see the screen of King Doll and the screen of Jay Coper. This is the finals of a special event that's going on in the Z1R community this summer. It is RoutleMania 4. We have reached the finals. We've had several weeks of preliminary rounds. This is, if you've not seen a RoutleMania type of event before, this is slightly different than the Z1R seeds you may be familiar with in one key respect, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this is the finals. Our runners have 90 minutes to get the best possible time to complete this seed, which they've had for several days, to read the spoiler log and practice. And now comes the time where they need to produce the best possible time. Best possible time wins this event. I'm bbq.gov. I'm one of your two co-hosts for the event this evening. Joining me on comms tonight is Mr. Dunlow. Dunlow, how you doing?
Great, BBQ. Let's go, man. I'm excited. Are we ready to give the runners a countdown here?
Ready whenever you are. I'm fired up. This is going to be a very entertaining event. Okay, so we've described a little bit about how this is going to work. The runners have had this seed. You can see the code up there. They have the same seed. They've had this seed for several days. They've been able to generate spoiler log from this seed. They've been able to practice playing this seed for as many hours as they want for the past several days, trying to find an optimized route, an optimized way to get this seed beaten in the fastest possible time. Now comes the point where they have to show their work and demonstrate what they can do. So what you're going to see throughout the next 90 minutes is our runners do several attempts at this seed. We're off and running right now, and we're starting in the eastern grave, just one screen east of our Armos that no one seems to be taking, which tends to indicate to me that there's probably nothing there.
So our Armos item is going to be a heart container tonight. So you may see a runner snag a heart container, or you may not. You can see the items on the screen already. But like you were saying, we have the spoiler log. We know everything. And they actually even started with a blue candle. You may see some early resets as the runners are on a quest for a bomb early, perhaps. King Doll went a little bit of a different direction, so let's see what he's up to. He went straight to the wood sword, it looks like.
Yeah, and the start with a blue candle is to give some form of offense. This seed is going to be challenging, and the flags for this seed are challenging in a number of respects. You see Wizrobes on the overworld. Sword was hidden in behind a candle spot in the Deadwoods, and that is are those silvers on the floor too? Yeah, right as you come into two, King Doll's going to prioritize getting those immediately, as quick as possible.
So what's interesting, our white sword is in 9. So to get ourselves a combat upgrade, we're basically looking at bow and arrow, or we could go hunting for a wand, but guess what? That's in 9 too. So it looks like King Doll prioritized getting the silvers in hand. And now he's going to level 6 here, but he's not too far away. And Fred just got silvers too. So yeah, this is going to come fast and furious. What's interesting here is we will be with these runners for probably about 100 minutes. So if you're out there, imagine you're watching a vanilla speed run, but you've never seen the game before. It would be a little hectic at first. So we will learn this seed together and update the times as we go. Fred gets a potion right away. That's a good safety. So yeah, it's coming fast and furious. So if you're like, what the heck's going on, stick with us because you're going to see some impressive Z1 here.
Yeah, you're going to see seeds beaten in ways you maybe have not seen them beaten before, and paths taken that maybe you wouldn't see in a normal Z1R seed. That's due to the knowledge that their runners have. And you'll also see resets that may seem a little jarring at first, where you question, like, well, why did they reset there? It didn't seem like they lost much time at all. But, given what the runners know and kind of what their expectation is for the best possible time they can get, those seconds in the early game may actually be very crucial.
We just got a really good suggestion in chat to put ourselves a countdown timer on screen. I believe I have access to make that happen. So if I go quiet for a moment, it's because I'm clicking buttons. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. But yeah, we're about 4 minutes into things here. King Doll takes an unfortunate death, and you see an immediate reset there, like you were just talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's gonna be doubly sure and just delete that file altogether and then just redo it. Okay. Which is a good safety to make sure that you don't accidentally, because if you accidentally start and get a minute in and realize that, oh wait, no, I didn't fully reset like I was supposed to. As we get a nice Kananaki by Fred here in level 8, which we know has the bow, which is it's a good level to prioritize when you already have silvers. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember. But yeah, no, Fred has already been in 2, he's been in 6, and he's been in 7. He's in 8 now, and he seems to have a very good idea of where he's headed.
Yeah, and I think King Doll might have even reset because he might have done a save at Silver Arrows. So the rule
Ah,
is you have to say if you save your file, you have to clear the file name to restart your progress. But if you've just continued, then you can go back to the main screen. Basically, you can't start a new speed run with items and resources in hand already.
yeah, you have to. If you're starting from the beginning, you have to start from the beginning, and that includes everything. And yeah, that was the point. Thank you for reminding me of the point I was trying to make. It's been a long day, but the reason the King Doll did that was because if you get in a minute in or so and realize that, oh wait, I didn't fully reset, I have something I'm not supposed to have. Well, you only have 90 minutes to generate your best possible time. So that's a different type of time loss than you might think of in the normal Z1R context, but it is a type of time loss that is crucial for our runners. And we'll see that particularly as we get an hour or so into the sea. That's an immediate Triforce for Fred. He has his bow out of 8. He has his silvers. He has a wood sword. He's good to go for this run at least. He's 415, 416 in, and he's in what we would say normally in a normal Z1R seed would be technical go mode. But yeah, Fred's going to head right back into 7 and get as much stuff done as he possibly can. I had an idea that I'll get my tracking software out and I'll track. There's way too much stuff going on for me to. I barely tracked where 8 and 7 were. And where our start screen was. So I'm going to follow along with a lot of you. This action, as Dunlow said, is going to come fast and furious. Oh, that's an unfortunate death for Fred. And that's a time loss that he's not prepared to accept. So as a result, he's going to do exactly what King Doll did. Completely reset, completely regenerate the file, reset again just to make sure, and then get off and running. Meanwhile, Jay Coper's about 53 seconds into his latest iteration of this seed and grabs his wood sword. And if you look to the bottom right screen, you'll see my co-host, Jake, Mr. Dunlow, is being fastidiously efficient at putting in the overall timer so that we can know about how much time we have. To the point I was making earlier, what you just saw on Jay Coper's screen, that misfire with the blue candle, ordinarily in a normal seed, would cost you to go off the screen and back 5 seconds. 5 seconds is not acceptable for these runners. They're trying to generate the absolute best possible time here. So early on, that 5 seconds, that's worth an up and A.
Yeah, basically you're looking at a scenario where the run is like 1/6 of the length of a normal Z1R seed. So you can sort of extrapolate that time loss. They don't want to keep a run with a death. As Trenton just mentioned in chat a minute ago, that's a really good strategy he referenced about if you're a runner, you want to put down a solid run at the beginning. Because from the runner's perspective, it definitely, like we see the N/A next to their current fastest time, and they know that same thing. So they definitely want to have a time on the board, but they also know this is the finals. We've been doing head-to-head matchups. We've done 8 head-to-head matchups in the weeks before this. but they know it's finals against two high caliber runners, so the standards are going to be very high here.
Absolutely. Yeah, the 8 weeks of head-to-heads has been really interesting. If you've seen any of those races, a lot of them have been async, offline, or streamed individually online. But if you've seen anyone, or if you've seen any of our finalists do practices where they're working through a seed on stream, that's also been very interesting to watch in terms of how our runners think about how to attack a seed, how to deal with the information they get as they go or they start with, and plot out the best course. So, for example, Dunlo, you mentioned a second ago needing a bomb force early. Jay Coper is 2 minutes into this run because on that Candle Row screen where he reset in the prior run, he was able to get a bomb force off of the screen of red Darknuts, and that allowed him to progress further to where he doesn't have to up and fish for a bomb.
Yeah, the time loss that you can experience in needing to get sort of off script is really, it can multiply. You saw Fred did a nice job there getting a bomb with the blue candle. So he knew exactly what screen to go to. He knew who might drop that bomb. It's not quite as technical as the Z1 run where they have very specific manipulations on that seed because JSR and those folks spent hours and hours with that one. But in 1 week, even, you can sort of get an idea of like, all right, this Octorok seems to like dropping me bombs. It's really interesting to just see the mechanics of the game. Pingdall's got a bow now, so he's got bow and silvers and ladder 6 minutes into the seed. That's nice.
Yeah, in a regular Z1R seed, you'd be doing the happy dance if you had that at your disposal, and that would be very rare. But in this type of event format, that's kind of the goal. That's kind of what you want, as Jay Coper's going to grab his ladder out of level 6. A nice little swag kill of the bat there while you're holding the ladder up, because why not? But yeah, 6 is where you want to get your ladder, get your Triforce, and get the heck out of Dodge.
And the run, speaking of the number 6, the runners only have to collect 6 Triforces here.
Yeah, that's a very good
doing
point.
some good work with the blue boomerang there. He mentioned that to me during the week, that when you're listing the required items for this seed, there's very few of them, but the power bracelet is required. I believe ladder's required. But he told me he was going to route in a way where the blue boomerang was going to help him significantly, and he used it there to get past some Lionels and save arrows. So worked out nicely for him.
That's really interesting because in it's kind of a running joke in kind of the regular Z1R community about boomerangs not being particularly useful items except for maybe in the early game when you don't have weapons. But Kingdoll's got bow, silvers, and wood sword, and he still wants to use that because you can get these little itty-bitty time saves by not having to take damage boosts or getting knocked back. That over the course of a run, if you're having a good run, can add up, and in some cases could be the difference between first and second or second and third. That's what makes this event really, really interesting.
Things. Yeah, the little things make it so fun. And one of the little things that becomes sort of a big thing is keys. Our magic key is in level 4 tonight, and they only have to get 6 Triforces, and that level 4 is in the open cave on the coast, the one that's right by your ladder item. And the ladder item is just a heart container. So they probably are not going to go to that level 4 just to get the magic key. So it'll be really interesting to see how they approach it here. Like right now, Kingdoll and Jay Coper both picked up the red ring in the same level, but Jay Coper did it about 3 minutes earlier than Kingdoll. So it seems like Kingdoll stacked the arrows earlier, Coper stacked the ring earlier. So it's kind of defense versus offense, and Kingdoll's going to get his required power bracelet. And yeah, these guys are flying here.
Yeah, this is a blink and you'll miss it type of event if you're watching 3 runners do this at once. It's very entertaining, and if you've played Z1R at all, or if you watch Z1R at all, it's a similar but very different way to think about attacking a seed or what your priorities should be. Because when you're competing against everybody else in a blind seed, everyone's seeing for the first time at the same time. Yeah, your strategy's different. What you want to prioritize can be different. And how you decide what levels are important can be different. Even in a seed where you don't need all 8 Triforces to get into 9, as here we only need 6. So as you were saying, level 4, which is on the coast, don't need to do that. There's a nice quality of life item in there, but at the same time, if it's not required to either beat the seed or to give you a significant time save, that calculation where in a normal seed you might route that in just to make your life easier. Here, our runners probably won't.
Yeah, that one I would call that a probably, that they probably won't go there. The one level I think I would be shocked if we saw is level 5. That one's up in the Lost Hills, and the best thing you've got in there is a wood boomerang. So I'd be just flabbergasted if anybody went up there, unless there's an any road or something I don't know about. But you
Yeah.
also see like that ugly level 7 on Fred's side. That would look terrifying in a typical race. But one thing I've learned about this game through doing the routers is just how few rooms are actually required to beat a seed. So you can really see the runners advance quickly by skipping rooms here. And you can almost, like, not to go too inside baseball, but you can kind of apply that to your own game almost. Like in a blind seed, like, all right, do I really need to be clearing these hard rooms, or should I hope for the best? So it's just
Without a yeah,
interesting.
without a doubt, I am a runner who is guilty of over clearing a lot of times, or over clearing overworld spots, over clearing rooms I don't need to clear in dungeons. So yeah, definitely in that respect, it gives me a lot to think about in terms of, okay, I see a room's got a bunch of wizrobes flying around. It could be a drop, it could not. Do I really want to waste my time doing this, or do I want to blast my way through the room and get to maybe a room of Keith that is a potential push block and use my time more wisely there? Yeah, it's a great way to kind of check yourself and how you think about seeds, and maybe make you think a little differently about how you approach playing a seed, or how you view the runners who are running a seed you're watching.
All right, so two notable things going on right now. King Doll's heading into level 9 for the first time. And the other notable thing is Fred skipped the red ring in level 3, which saves a big chunk of time. I think and I don't want to make up numbers, but if I had to make up numbers, I think it's like a 45-ish second time save. One or both of them, or all three of them might yell at me that I'm wrong. But you do gain a key when you go on the path for the red ring. So Fred's got to find a key somewhere else, and Fred, who, if you've watched Fred play, he's one of the best Ganon fighters in the game. He's going to be rocking on a green tunic Ganon fight, so the run will never be free for him. So he's upping the drama at the expense of, or at the benefit of saving time. So that's a pretty interesting divergence from the other two guys.
Yeah, exactly. To your point earlier about different prioritization can mean very different strategies, and can mean different things that are going to make or break a particular run for one runner versus another. It's a prime example of that. This is very interesting. And Trenton's point in chat about you want to get a decent time on the board early. Kingdoll seems to be looking likely like he's going to be first on the board with a passable time. He's in 9. He has everything he needs to beat the game. He just needs to, as he takes a candle boost there to get past that annoying Dodongo. He seems to have the path to Ganon, so it may be just a matter of a minute or two. It takes another candle boost there to get through that nasty left molar room. It'd just be a matter of time before he's in the Ganon fight.
So that room he just did, where there was a diamond staircase with a clip in and a like, that's another one where the boomerang pays benefits. They're all good enough to get past a like without a boomerang, don't get me wrong, but it's very safe to just knock that pancake in the face and walk right through it.
Absolutely, and he got a little bit of luck there in that one of these we added into the Ganon fight on King Doll's side. He got a little bit lucky. I don't know if he's going to need these that 4-pack of bombs he got from that like that was inside the diamond staircase, but that like's not with the one that has the bombs is not guaranteed to spawn there. So a little bit of luck there in case he needs the bombs. But he's in the Ganon fight with Wood Sword. He needs 15 or 16 hits, I think, to get him down.
So it'll be interesting. Ganon is a beast at all times. He's got a stun lock on now, though. Oh, and he slipped a little bit, but he's got to get him back here. All right, he's chugging the blue. It's getting dicey here, but we'll see if he pulls it off.
And for those who were wondering, well, why you have 3 hearts? Why are you picking up a potion early, like a minute into the siege? He gets him down there, nicely done. That's why, because you're going into a Ganon fight, even with Red Ring, with 3 hearts and Wood Sword. It's entirely likely a high roll driver or 2 is going to make it, so you need to get your health back.
Yep, and you're right. We saw it early because the runners assessed like, all right, this is the fastest access I have to a potion in the context of the overall seed. It's not that they think they're going to die in the first. Look at this boomerang. I am just, as someone who likes weird ideas or different ideas playing Zelda, this boomerang is doing work here on King Doll's side.
It really is. I mean, even with Red Ring having to take the damage boosts, and this room alone might be the reason why you would want the boomerang. That like in a spiral staircase room would be really annoying to have to get by. As there's the door for the princess, King Doll's going to finish this run. 16 flat.
On the nose. Don't go anywhere, though, folks. That is just... You can get some GGs out in chat if you would like to, but those are temporary GGs, because we are going to see even gooder Gs. We're gonna see some BGs. We're going to see some better Gs. All right, I'm done with the initials
best
there,
Gs. Super Gs.
The best Gs, yeah. So right now, that was 16 flat on the nose, right?
Yeah, like 16 and like 4/10 or something. So that's... King Doll's first on the board with a run. If neither Fred nor Jay Coper can beat the seed, as this is interesting on Jay Coper's side, he's making a play for the White Sword.
Yeah, that's gonna. And Coper's a really good Ganon fighter. Now I just realized, so Coper's green. He might have been tripping me up. I swear he was red at some point tonight. Maybe he started with a red tunic, or maybe he changed his route. Oftentimes the runners will come in with different routes for different times through, and maybe he was gonna get the red ring the first time and then just said, you know what, forget it, I'll just get the white sword and have to take half as many swings again, and instead of taking less damage. So it'd be interesting.
That is very interesting, the concept of, all right, we're gonna run path A and then get a time on the board. And if we like that time, then we're going to try path B, which, depending on some other factors, is, oh no, that's a like getting... well, thankfully, Coper's got White Sword and can blast his way out of that in 5 shots rather than 10. But that is annoying to have to get stuck with that like. That is that King Doll strategy of using your boomerang to stun enemies can pay some dividends. And one thing we haven't mentioned, speaking of Jay Coper, he's down to 1 rupee. So one thing he's going to have to be careful about is money management. He needs at least one. He needs 1 rupee to be able to fire an arrow to kill Ganon. So unless he picks up some rupees along the way, his silver arrows are out of use for the time being. Oh well, never mind. There's a fiver right there.
Coper knew that. Yeah, so just to catch y'all up, because I know this is a unique concept and we're all just popping in as we all do on Twitch. The runners have had this seed for 1 week where they played the seed and routed it and figured out like, all right, what's the fastest way I can beat this seed? We have Heart Shuffle turned on, but they knew where all the items were before they started tonight. They only need 6 Triforces to enter 9. And so basically think of this like you're watching a race in the vanilla tournament, but it's a speedrun session, if that makes sense. And Coper's at Ganon. He's one of the best in the game at this too, so let's see how it goes.
He's trying to get a stun lock here, but Ganon doesn't seem to want to cooperate at the moment. There, now he's got a potential for a stun lock. 6, 7, and 8. That'll do it.
Very nicely done. And we're going to have Fred coming up on a completion or at least a Ganon battle here soon. So yeah, the runners are not watching each other. And they also, we've discussed, I'm one of the organizers for this along with King Doll. We discussed a wrinkle where at some point maybe we do let the runners know each other's times throughout the race. But typically we do it async in our regular season, and the finals is the only live race. So there's the issue of switching up the format when you get the finals. So yeah, basically they know nothing, but they, in terms of the other runners, but they know they have 90 minutes, and you can do what we call a buzzer beater, where your last run just has to start before the 90 minutes is up. So they have 90 minutes of speed run, and Jake Coper is about to finish as well.
Yeah, he's going to finish just under 17 minutes. And you may have noticed on his timer down there, he's going to finish with a 16:58. You may have noticed on his timer that it switched about 30 seconds ago from green or blue to red, the digits there. Our runners on their own feeds have their own split, because they use Live Split or whatever software they use to track splits. So those splits have the data from the practice sessions they've run. So Jay Coper has that time in the bank now, but he also knows that he's run it faster than that. So he's going to do this again and try and shave some time off of the 16:58 he just logged.
There's no bonus points for who gets the earliest finish or who finishes the most times. So Fred's going into a risky Ganon fight here, but he just needs one good one tonight, so this might be the one. And he's just so good at dodging fireballs, and it's like Fred is playing... Oh, I cursed him, but when you watch him fight Ganon, typically, except that time, with this commentator's curse, he's so good at what he does, and he's got tons of time left. He's got more than 65 minutes to get another run in, which is why you didn't see him run back to Ganon. He knew he wasn't going to keep a run in there with the Ganon death.
Yeah, had he finished that, now he doesn't know this, had he finished that run, he probably would have finished around 16:20, 16:30. He doesn't know that King Doll's already put a 16 flat on the board. What we also don't know, unless you're watching Fred stream separately, is what he thinks his best possible time is, either based on the calculations he's made or practice runs he's done online or offline. So it's entirely possible. Then King Doll's continuing to run because he may believe that, yeah, I got a 16 flat here, but I can do way better than that.
So what's interesting, and this is again, but this is, I love this because as a self-professed nerd, this is one of the nerdiest ways to play Z1R, where you're counting frames and seconds. So to nerd it up a little more, these three runners have different strategies for how they set their splits up coming into the race. Jay Coper races against whatever his PB was the last time he streamed his practice, generally. So he's racing against a 16:43. But as someone that's competing against him, he usually smashes whatever that time is, because that's sort of been like his exploration time. So at some point he could go way lower. Fred comes into the chase with no splits on the board and just runs against whatever he does during, we call this speedrun session, we call it a chase for the PB. And King Doll goes through and he looks at his average times throughout the week and what he thinks reasonable times are, and he makes up fake split that he runs against when he comes into a chase, if that makes sense. So that might be going deep in the weeds, but like you said, there's a lot going on in terms of how the runners prepare and approach what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did not know that. And that's kind of an additional window into there's a lot of different ways to attack a seed. Even in vanilla, I'm going to call it vanilla Z1R, but even in kind of the standard Z1R you're used to seeing on the Speed Gaming family of networks. There's a lot of different ways runners can attack a seed. Some can prioritize, overworld clearing. Some can prioritize dungeon digging. But you can see divergences here in terms of how the runners think about what is a good time for getting my first Triforce, getting the bow, getting the silvers. How do I want to measure that? I know that, for example, when Fred's just running Z1R casually or other games, randomizers, speed runs like Link to the Past, he will typically use splits that are kind of against his. He'll use the ones that are against his worst possible times, rather than his best possible times for a given, for overall. Because looking at the the red plus figures as you're running a seed can be demoralizing, and it's just nicer to look at your split for, I got my first Triforce at 15 minutes. That's 5 hours faster than the worst time I've ever done it. So it's like, psychologically, I kind of get that. It's kind of uplifting. Why not?
Yeah, it seems like all three of them come in with a concept where they're not running against splits that are like impossible to beat. Like they're not gonna run against the dream run that they got at some point during their practice during the week. They're gonna run against something where maybe the dream run will happen tonight, but you don't want to be looking at too much red for the entire 90 minutes on your splits. So yeah, there's a lot of psychology to it.
There definitely can be. And yeah, I mean, and you mentioned this earlier about not wanting to get to the end of the 90 minutes and feel like, well, I haven't put a good time up yet. I'm under the gun. This last run or this next to last run has to be, quote unquote, the one. So the fact that King Doll and Jake Oper have gotten runs on the board, if nothing else, has to give them some comfort that, okay, well, I have a run. It's not the one I wanted, but at least I'm not having to settle for something at the end because I died to Ganon one too many times.
Always feels good to have a completion on the board. As King Doll, he got in the nasty staircase Lionel room there.
Yeah, but the good news is that because you have a 16-minute run on the board and we're 30 minutes in, you got an hour left. You can up a full restart a bunch of times, and you're going to see our runners. If I had to just put an over-under on how many times will King Doll up an A, or will he just completely reset and start from 0? 5 or 6 times, maybe. And that's if he completes another couple of runs, which I expect he will. So yeah, don't be thrown by the fact that they had to reset 5 minutes into a run. Darn. I was like, no, that's actually kind of baked into the cake for our runners, as I understand it. That as Fred's going to bake this Kanana key into his strategy, he pulls it off here on the second try.
Okay, so that could be. I was mentioning earlier that on the way to the red ring, you get a free key.
Yes.
So that Kanana key situation may have been a solution to that problem. If he left the key on the floor, Kanana key to open the door. Yeah, that's spicy right there. That's cool.
Yeah, and again, different strategies for different runners, different comfort levels about, being able to reliably pull off certain maneuvers rather than others. Confidence in your Ganon fight, confidence in your Kalimbat capabilities, all things that factor into the choices our runners have been making and planning throughout the week and are making right now, run to run.
All right, so King Doll's right back in level 6 where he died. That could be a consideration too. Sometimes you we all know a dungeon where we're more likely to die when we see it. So sometimes it's kind of good to route your death risk earlier into the run so that reset can happen at the 3-minute mark instead of like the 10-minute mark. So that could be a factor in what he's doing here.
That's an excellent observation. I had not thought about that, but yeah, if you're going to have to do a bunch of resets to get by a nasty room, I'd rather burn 3 minutes at a time than 7. And to the point about putting unnecessary pressure on yourself towards the end of the 90 minutes. If you can avoid that by getting more bites at the apple by doing one dungeon that's right next to another, if my tracking is right, 3, 6, 7, and 8 are all kind of near start or near Candle Row. So the order in which you do those dungeons may give you certain benefits one way or another. That's a really interesting way to think about this.
Yeah, you are correct. And level 1 is also on Candle Row, so they are lumped together there. And Jay Coper, he just had a gold split in that level 8.
Ooh,
And
wow.
he is on pace. He's about 30 seconds ahead of his first completion in terms of his pace. So he's flying on this one, it looks like.
Yeah, and he's 9 minutes in. He is, and he's got 1, 3, 6, and 8. So he is not far off from entering level 9. Just needs 2 more Triforces. Yeah, and you're going to see our runners do. Each of our runners probably get at least, I would say, 3 or 4 runs fully completed, and a bunch of resets to try and try and either establish a better time or shave some precious seconds off the times they've already set.
Yeah, so level 3, where Fred is right now on the top left of your screen, that's our level that contains our power bracelet, which is required to get into level 9, and it contains the red ring. Fred is someone that, if you've ever watched his streams that you were mentioning earlier where he routes seeds, I hear him often saying, like, all right, can I skip this red ring? Can I skip this? So it's a consideration for him every time. I'll be interested to see if he sticks with the green tunic plan or if at some point he does pick up the red ring. Kind of think he would stick with it at this point, but I'm just guessing.
That's a very interesting possibility. Like if he gets to the point, if he gets like 60 minutes in, and he'll have it by 60 minutes. He will have a completed run. He's good enough to where that's not going to be, it's unlikely to be a consideration. But if it's to a point where he's kind of not happy with how his combat has been, and he feels like that might be necessary, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says you have to keep the same strategy for the entire 90 minutes. And I think you were mentioning that, it's entirely possible that someone like Jay Coper might try, Path A in the first half of this run and then Path B in the second. There's nothing stopping our runners from doing that.
Yeah, and a couple good points in chat. Point number 1, if Fred does the ring skip, it'll probably happen after several son of a monkeys. And then also the concept of taking a run with the red ring and skipping it, that could be a thing that you see. The calculation becomes, when I was talking to King Doll about the seed, I think he might just keep it because, number 1, you get a key on the way to red ring, and you can kind of just play a little more fast and loose when you have the red ring. Not too fast because they don't have many hearts, but it's almost like my dad was an old football coach, and he would never change his strategy in a big game because he'd be like, we got to dance with who brung us here. So maybe he'll dance with who brung him here, as my country dad always said, or maybe they'll skip it. One thing they might skip later on is the potion. If they have like the God run already, there may be a moment where they're like, all right, the only way I can save 10 more seconds is not going to get the potion. So we could see stuff like that as the clock keeps ticking here.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're exactly right. I mean, we could get to a point where even if you've got a time on the board, you don't know what your opponents have, so you could have a YOLO run where you're just like, all right, no safeties, all gas, no brakes, let's go, and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, I actually had to do that, not to get too tangential, but I had to do that last night. I was in the consolation match, the 4th place match. The other runners still haven't finished yet, so I don't know how I did. But I had a run with like 3 gold splits in it, and I had 2 minutes left to start another one, and I was like, well, I'm obligated to skip the potion because I can't do better than I just did. And then Ganon killed me because I had a potion, but there becomes a point where you reach a point of excellence where you're like, all right, there's no other way I can save time than to just be really reckless here. Cobra's picking up the white sword again. I imagine he knows he's pretty far ahead of that last. He's on pace for about 1630, according to his splits here. So with a clean Ganon fight, he's like, all right, I can still keep the white sword in and improve.
Yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, like you said, there may be a run where he thinks that, he may need to skip that in order to try to save time elsewhere. To give you a sense of, if you just saw on King Doll's screen right before he picked up that Triforce, to give you a sense of how laser focused our runners are on seconds and microseconds. King Doll was down to, I think, half a heart and had finished clearing the room where the Triforce was. There was a fairy flying around and there was a heart on the floor. spent a silver arrow to pick those up before he picked up the Triforce, so he could save that little bit of time where Link's hearts get filled up from half a heart to 3 hearts, and gain that extra 3/4 of a second back. So that's how close our runners may think they need to be managing their time throughout this 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. You won't often see somebody in a rando race worried about a 2-heart refill time, but this is they're speedrunning a seed that is roughly half the length of the vanilla Z1. So if you think about how high runners keep their standards during a vanilla speed run, they're going to be just as high in this one, if not higher. King Doll just did it there. He has 2.5 hearts, and he didn't go get that heart on the floor. Because he's got a red ring. He knows that half heart really doesn't matter in terms of a Ganon hit. Like, he can take 3 Ganon hits, basically, regardless. And maybe there's another heart waiting for him. We don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not in 9. Coper's in 9. I messed that up. See, that's how fast and furious it is. I was like, oh, he's in a green level. He's in 9. No, he's nowhere near 9. I'll shut up. Let's see if Coper beats Ganon here.
Yeah, he's entering at 14:59 with White Sword, 3 hearts, and 4 arrows. If he can get a stun lock here, well, he's got a shot right here.
Oh, he settled into it. That's
nice.
A very fast Ganon.
That really is. And Ganon had, if you saw Ganon's pose change a couple of times, that's one of those situations where you don't quite have the stun lock, and it's 50-50 whether Ganon is going to respawn in the bottom left or the bottom right. And he's respawned in the bottom left, which meant that you could kind of pseudo-maintain that stun block, or that stun lock, not block. So Coper was able to take him out in 8 straight shots. Very, very well done.
Yeah, he won a couple of those coin flips, and then he also held the stun lock with the skill there. And that's an interesting dynamic of the White Sword, because I imagine he did that Ganon fight physically faster than our Wood Sword runners would be able to. Because they can't swing the Wood Sword 16 times that fast. So Coper's going to finish just behind King Doll here, but he's got room to improve with it. This is going to be a gold level 9 for him, for sure. Boom. Put your GG's out for Coper, crushing it, and Fred's about to finish up 9 here too.
16-12 is really, really good. And like you said, for Coper, that's a gold split, but that's not going to deter him from trying to shave seconds off. He doesn't know what King Doll's time is, but to Coper, it doesn't matter. He's trying to get as much time shaved off as he possibly can. As Fred's going to go ahead in this run and pick up the White Sword.
Yeah, did he have white the first time, or was he on Wood Sword Green Tunic? I honestly can't remember.
I think he may have been on Wood Sword the first. Chat will know. I want to say he was on Wood Sword because I think he had to do the full 15, and he got like 9 or 10 hits, but wasn't able to get the stun lock in place because Ganon was, well, in this case, Zelda, was not cooperating with spawning where she needed to.
Yeah, chat's telling us we're wrong. I'm going to trust Trenton, but I thought you were right, too.
Hey, I'm used to being wrong. Look, I'm married. I'm used to being wrong. It's fine.
Now, I always heard that .gov meant it was an infallible, reliable resource, but now I'm being told otherwise, so I'm not sure here.
The government being a reliable resource. Well, insert your own jokes there, folks.
Yeah, that was a multi-layered joke there.
Oh man. This is a fun event, folks. This is fun. This is different than maybe you've seen in the past. If you're just joining us, this is RoutleMania 4 finals between Jay Coper, Fred Coughlin, and King Doll. We are about 42 minutes in to a 90-minute chase to get the best possible time to beat the game. 2 of our runners have already carded times, but are working on shaving points off. Fred, our 3rd runner, is in 9 right now. He's he's just passing the 14-minute mark. He's on his way to Ganon.
King Doll's in there too. I know from his splits, King Doll came into this 10 seconds ahead of his last run.
Wow, that and his run leads the day right now at 16 flat. So if he finishes 10 up, that'll be a 15:50 and expand his lead for now. among our 3 runners.
Yeah, chat telling us that Fred probably had faster than a 16 flat last night. I'm not surprised by that. Yeah, Fred keeps us a little mysterious with his chase splits. Right now, he's running against no PB on his splits, but I got a feeling that's going to change soon. I got a feeling he's going to lock this one in, and we'll get to see what sort of pace he's been on here.
Oh no! Took a death to a.
Oh my God! All right, the next time Fred's doing well, I am gonna mute my mic because that's 2 times. My bad, Fred.
No, not your fault. There were 2 mummies stacked on top of each other. He stunned one. He thought he stunned both, and I mean that's just gross. That's a gross way to lose a good run.
Violence. Yeah, that's bad because I know, like, at least my mindset, and I'm a far worse Ganon fighter than Fred. But you're thinking about, after you've died to Ganon on the previous run, you're sort of locked in on that Ganon fight. And more so than the stuff on the way to Ganon. So that one definitely kind of probably snuck up on him with just that spawn there. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and it can happen to the best of us, even in the most high-pressure of situations. Just something as seemingly innocuous as just, I got to get past this enemy, I'll stun them. Well, this game can be a real, well, in Fred's words, son of a monkey sometimes.
Yeah, and you really get to see that here. So Fred's saved right there. He's got himself off to a good start. King Doll's in Ganon. All right, let's see how he does here.
And he's in on Wood Sword, which he did in his first run. So he's got the stun lock here. He's winning some coin flips. He's winning a lot of coin flips, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. None of those were stun locked, but he got about halfway home just on good spawns.
He's up to about 8 or 9 hits at this point, I think. Ganon is going to be troublesome here because he's spawning on that bottom row, which is not where he normally spawns based on how he kind of bounces off the top and bottom of the room. But he's got him here. Very nicely done.
And he does not have a potion. So I didn't even notice that aspect of his routing. Oh, look, though. He looked at his time, I guess, and noticed he couldn't get back to Zelda fast enough. So King Doll... Okay, so here's my dude King Doll does something that I don't see anybody else do. On his splits, he splits at Ganon when he kills Ganon, and I think it's so he can get precision like that. So his previous run, the Ganon split was 1503, and I think that was about a 1506, and he just reset because he was like, I can't do better. I'm gonna save myself that minute of time to get runs in, which that's some high level planning and preparation, but I trust that he was correct in his assessment.
Yeah, that's next level in terms of excuse me, in terms of time management. I would not have thought to do that. That's really savvy on King Doll's part, and it can be the difference between getting one extra run in at the end of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, he got salty with me last season because I was taking time between every run to rewrite a funny file name, and you'll notice his file name will become A most of the time after the first run. It does say one flag we haven't talked about. The book functions to make us understand the old man, which is completely irrelevant, but it results in the old guys all saying "Wart" the whole time, which I don't even know the reference. You know, W-A-R-K? I don't even know it.
Not a clue. I'm sure it has. Yeah. It has to do with some video game or other type of property that I don't that I've never played.
It's a Final Fantasy. There we go.
That explains it. Yeah, it seems like half the old man quotes are some sort of, or the flute tunes are some sort of Final Fantasy reference that I will never understand, and I'm not itching to understand. King Doll, that was interesting. King Doll was struggling a little bit with getting lined up to fight those orange Wizrobes to try to get a bomb drop, and he was like, "Yeah, you know what? We're like 30 seconds in. Not worth it. Gonna up A and get back to business."
Yeah, his run might be good enough that he knows he needs to get the very first bomb drop or else there's no point in continuing. He's been, as he told me earlier, and I didn't understand the reference until I saw the seed myself. He said he's been working hard at this. I guess.
Oh God.
Maybe, yeah. So you notice all the old guys say "work" every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the joke there. If that comes up at some point.
Oh man, that's the joke. Yeah. Oh man.
That's the joke too. Yeah, he had okay, that screen was full of bomb droppers and there were 5 enemies on the screen. So once he didn't get the first one, he was probably like, all right, I don't have time to go to another screen here to get up to a 6 count to get a bomb drop. I'm done here.
Yeah, that makes it. Now that you explain it, it makes a lot of sense. It's something that, running a quote unquote regular Z1 randomizer seed, which, depending on who you ask, there's never really a regular Z1 randomizer seed. They're all weird in their own ways,
In their own special ways, right?
Very much so. But even there, most people wouldn't reset if they didn't get a bomb drop when if the first enemy they kill is a blue octrop and it doesn't drop a bomb when they get their sword. You might be tempted to at some point, but most people wouldn't, because your run's gonna be what, an hour and a half. Here the run is the best run right now is 16 minutes flat, which is, like you said earlier, just around half the time of the world record time for beating the vanilla game, which is itself a ridiculous time to beat the game, given how much I struggled with it as a kid when I had the game. So yeah, the margins here are very thin, and you'll see, as we've seen so far, if you're just joining us, you'll see our runners reset for reasons that may be a little jarring, but at the same time make all the sense in the world in the context of this particular event.
You're absolutely right. If in 1990 or 89 or whatever year I was playing this game, if some kid told me they beat this in 16 days, I would assume they're that kid that's lying on the school bus and also said they saw King Hippo get up one time. And we're beating it in 16 minutes out here. It's nuts.
Yeah, I beat Super Mario Brothers in 7 minutes. Okay, dude, you and what Game Genie? No, that's not. But now,
if you beat it 5 times, you get to play as the princess. Yeah, that kid.
Oh yeah, that I do remember someone saying that one time. Oh, King Doll just got beamed. That was a nasty spawn of those orange whiz robes. So, might as well up an A. You're like 20 seconds in. Why try and salvage that?
Yeah, and Jay Coper does a nice, as pointed out in chat, that's a really good point. He does a nice job with the candle boost here to sort of get through the orange dark nuts, because he takes a completely different path to the wood sword than King Doll does. I didn't notice Fred's path because it's been 7 minutes since he did it. So he comes through a take any road, and King Doll sort of just screen wraps down here. It's an interesting to see how that sets up the route or what the timing on the wood sword grab. Coper's in the cave at 50 seconds. Coper must have done something else productive, though, in that routing. Like, maybe opening the any roads helps him out or something like that. There's got to be something he did along the way that makes it the right plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's with the action coming as fast as it is. There's a bomb drop for Jay Coper. Yeah, he's gonna grab that immediately and then hop into level. Yeah, this is level 6. That's the bomb drop you want. So the run can continue, even though you've got a run on the board that, in the abstract, sounds pretty darn good. Beating the seed in 16 minutes and 12 seconds sounds awesome, but he's trying to get sub 16, and he may very well be able to pull it off here. Fred got beamed in the absolute wrong spot, so back to start he goes. Back to 0 he goes.
And I like Fred's strategy. You'll notice he did the thing I was talking about where his file name is just the letter A to save time. But on lines 2 and 3, he wrote "son of a monkey," so he can still keep the meme in there. He does it. And Fred did a thing where he reset that screen to try to get a bomb drop off of the octo with the blue candle. That was cool. Watch him do this time. Watch what Fred does. He goes down like he's going down to vanilla 6 or whatever, but then the blue octo will now be on the correct side when he goes back up.
Right there.
But he only drops a bomb 41% of the time. But still, this is a really cool technique he's implementing there.
Yeah, and you were talking at the beginning of our broadcast about the fact that our runners were going to need to force a bomb early because bombs are not going to be easy to come by in shops. There's another example that he got the blue Octorok spawned in the right place, but it turned left instead of coming at him, so couldn't get 2 hits on him with the blue candle. So immediately up an A and try again. Let's see if he can get it right here. That blue Octorok will spawn right there. Gonna be patient here and wait for him to turn down, and got the bomb drop.
So now the run can continue. So that's interesting. Oh man, Jay Coper dies in that same corridor staircase room where King Doll took a death earlier. That's the cost of running on 3 hearts and trying to go fast is you have to put yourself in some risky situations. But he also does that level very early in the run. So
yeah, you mentioned that. You absolutely mentioned that earlier, that if you're going to deal with a scenario where there's a decent likelihood you're going to get killed on that screen, if you can do it earlier, that's a good idea, because if you do die, then you're only losing 3 minutes of your 90-minute chase time instead of like 7.
To answer the question in chat about bomb drops, basically it's been calculated that a bomb will drop 41% of the time that you kill an enemy that's eligible to drop bombs. But one thing you see in the vanilla run where people do the manipulations is the game programs it so that from the time you reset your console or your emulator, there are specific frames on which the bomb will drop. So in the vanilla run, that's why the manipulations, the runners know if they see the right pattern and the right enemy behavior, okay, I'm going to get the bomb drop this time. And you can kind of start to learn that in 1 week in a routers, but you don't get it as brilliantly timed. Like they're using music cues in vanilla run and stuff. So the short answer is it's going to drop 41%. The longer answer is the runners are trying to set themselves up in a situation where they can get a better number than 41.
That's really it. I did not know about the 41%. I just, I haven't been running this that long. I knew that, that bomb dropping enemies dropped on 1, 3, and 6, and there's a percentage it might drop, it might not. So this is all news to me. As a really smooth Kananaki by Fred there. The 3 bats spawned on the right, which made it easy to pull off, but just in one motion, easy as you please to get through that door and score a key.
That was beautiful. That's like people that are into baseball and get psyched about like a beautiful bunt or something. Whereas most of us that aren't baseball diehards are just looking for the dingers, that's how I watch baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like the equivalent of just a beautiful play there on that Kananaki. Like that's the stuff that's just so good.
Yeah, that's high level play. That's like seeing a really good hit and run be executed where you're just like, oh man, that's just great to watch.
Yeah, see, there we go. I knew you could hop in with some more baseball. Hey, yeah. King Doll was 25 seconds to the green at that Triforce grab.
Wow.
So he is on a run here. He's not at the hard parts yet, but he's got potential to smash this thing.
And he's probably a little aggravated with himself right there. He was trying to get that screen scroll. The left to right screen scroll is a little harder to do than the I can't do either. But I'm told that the left to right one is a little bit harder to do than the right to left. Yeah, and if knowing King Doll, he's probably irritated that he wasn't able to get that first try given the kind of pace he's on right now. He's going to try and do this Kananaki here.
He's going to do the Kananaki too. He kept his beams at least, so he's got that. He didn't get quite as beautiful of a spawn, but he still pulled it off.
There he goes. Yeah, patience paid off there. Again, he's probably a little irritated that took longer than he wanted it to. But, I mean, for us watching it, for me, it's just like, wow, anyone that pulls off a Kananaki is like, I'm very impressed.
The other thing that's cool is he has the boomerang in hand there, I guess as a backup if he doesn't have beams. That's probably something he considered.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about the added utility of having the boomerang. As he grabs his bow out of 8, immediately up A's. Fred's grabbing his Triforce out of 7, and Jay Cobra's in 1 4 minutes in. Action's coming from all directions, everybody.
Yeah, and Cooper, we figure this out now. The Trogdor starts red for him.
So
So
he
he's going to
did.
change to green when
Okay,
he
so
gets
he
the red.
did get the red ring. Okay, that makes sense.
Now that could be, and I'm just making up what's going on in his mind with that decision. I don't know if he does that every single time or if he only does it in routers. But to me, as someone who can be a little sloppy on the combat sometimes, I get this psychological thing where when I turn red, I start just kind of like, oh no, King Doll lost the God Run. The
Oh,
finals. Oh, he's going to be frustrated. Uh, but yeah, there's sort of a thing where you start playing recklessly, or at least I do with a red ring. So maybe turning himself green sort of keeps him in that like, all right, let's not take a lot of dumb hits here, stuff like that. I don't
yeah.
know, I'm just making up thoughts, but all
No,
right, well if King Doll could be -25 on that run, that is always means you can do it again. If you can do it once, you can repeat it. So let's see
that's
how it
right.
goes.
Yeah, no. We were talking earlier about some of the psychology involved with how you route the seed, what you prioritize, what you don't. That's a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing when you're running Z1R, when you're running randomizer, or when you're doing any speed run. But when you're doing randomizer, yeah, the psychology of if you're continually getting beat over the head with combat, yeah, it can be you can get tilted, you can be frustrated, and it can cause you to make bad decisions. So yeah, there's psychology involved. It's not all just who can hit the buttons in the right sequence the fastest. There's strategy and there's some psychology here at play too, which there's a lot of layers to this event, which makes it really interesting to watch.
Yeah, and we are to the point where, and what's interesting is in the regular season, we do 60-minute chases for the PB, and then in our postseason here for the championship, we put in 90 minutes. So Fred would be really sweating if we were on a 60-minute clock. But he's already at the point where he knows the clock is ticking here, so that's certainly hanging around in his brain.
Yeah, he has not had a completed run yet, and there's 30 minutes on the clock. So that noose tightens just a little bit. With a runner of Fred's caliber, with a runner any of the caliber of the folks who were in the finals, you wouldn't think that would bother any of our runners, given the number of events they've played in and how often they've played Z1 Randomizer. But pressure is a real thing, and it can manifest itself in weird ways.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're in the finals, you know everyone's good. You know everybody else, and you know they're putting in the work. There's like three elements to this whole thing. There's the routing, there's the gameplay skill, and then there's just the amount of work you put into it. And nobody's coming in here procrastinating and slacking and throwing a run together at the last minute for the finals. They know the other guys have routed this seed as well as they can. So that's an element to the pressure as well, for sure. Oh, then they're all getting the blue boomerang. Fred got it too. I noticed Cooper had got it earlier. Yeah, so boomerang is just king tonight. That's the only thing they're all agreeing on. They're differing on white sword and red ring and stuff, but everybody loves the boomerang tonight.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is kind of on the path to the ladder, so you would almost kind of have to. And there have probably been seeds in this tournament where runners may do that, where there's an item right literally in the path they're walking, but they don't want to pick it up because it'll take up an extra inventory slot in their B menu, and they don't want to have to spend that extra time select swapping one additional time to get to the item that they need. That's a real thing that's a real thing sometimes in regular Z1R. That can be a very real thing here, given the potential margins for error.
So I just looked, and King Doll had a gold split to his silver arrows,
Oh wow!
where he was 23 seconds ahead of his pace. I have no idea if he changed the route or We're gonna have to see. Like, he might have changed the route, and he might have to pay that time back later. I can't imagine what he would have done to be that much faster, but maybe he pulled something off. Oh, to answer the question in chat, the finals is 3 ways. The regular season has been head-to-head matchups throughout the course of it. But yeah, this is a 3-way live final, so we will know our champion in probably at a maximum like 43-ish minutes if someone were to get a run right at the buzzer. But yeah, we will have our champion crowned here soon.
Now, before the clock on the East Coast here in the United States strikes midnight, we will know who wins, who has won this event. So
Dude, that's
don't
the best
go
part
anywhere.
about volunteering. Yeah, you volunteer to do comms or track one of these. You know you're not getting a 3-hour seed. Like, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I don't have to be to work first thing in the morning tomorrow, which is good. But yeah, I mean, I would have volunteered for this anyway because it's really interesting. But yeah, that little added certainty, that ain't bad.
Oh no, I'm just out here as one of the organizers of this thing. I'm just constantly sales pitching the concept to people. I'm looking for any angle I can.
Yeah.
We see some more work on Fred's side. Yeah, I want Fred to get a run in soon, so he'll have splits, so we'll know where he's at. Kingdall paid back a little bit of the time, but he's 18 seconds ahead of his pace, coming out of 6. And Jay Coper is potentially... Okay, with that death, he's going to reset. He was like 8 seconds red coming out of his last Triforce, so he was on the borderline anyway. So that could be a happy accident for him. He doesn't know he's in second place, but getting a reset there when he was on 1620 pace might actually be a positive consequence if he gets another good one going.
Yeah, very true. And even for our current leader, Kingdoll, he's got a 16 flat. In his mind, he may think that the best possible time is something like 15:30, and he may feel behind. He doesn't know where what Fred or Jay Coper have posted yet. We won't know till the end of the 90 minutes. So the last 30 minutes here, where runners are trying to squeeze in one last good run, it's gonna be a mad dash to the finish. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I agree with the assessment in chat. I would think, even with... Oh man, I don't want to curse him again, but... Oh, wait, I was saying good things before, so I'll say a negative outcome this time, and I don't think it'll curse him. Even if he were to take a Ganon death, I think he might run back up and finish this run just to get a time on the board, just in case the other guys are having problems too, because you never know. You can't see all the little boxes on the screen when you're just one runner.
Yeah, I guarantee you, for all three of our runners right now, there's a lot going through their heads. There's a lot going through my head. I'm just sitting here. I can't imagine all the things you have to think about. Certainly on Fred's side right now, in 9, you can grab that heart. He's watching the clock. He's trying to figure out, all right, how fast can I kill these guys? How many arrows can I spend? All sorts of stuff running through his head at this point, I'd imagine.
And I'm not sure what... Oh, as Coper has appeared in chat, so that is probably... He probably tapped out and thought 1612 was the cap for his pace there. I was wondering if the delay... You never know with people. You never know what they're doing during a delay. But
yeah.
Yeah, so Coper maybe... And now I don't know... We'll have to get confirmation from Coper, but because he's in chat... He is done for sure, I would think. So we'll just have to see how it stacks up. He could certainly still take a second place here, or Fred could keep blitzing this thing. We'll just have to see how it goes against Ganon this time.
Yeah, and we were discussing this a little bit earlier. It's the tricky part. Fred's got a problem there. That Tektite jumped up into the HUD. That's a slight problem.
That's just comical.
Oh, there he is. Oh, don't let that be the difference between first and second or second and third. That would just be mean. No. I mean, I've seen that happen in races where the Patrites get all wonky, or a tech type jumps up into the HUD or something. But oh boy, and something like this where seconds and milliseconds can be the difference. Ugh. Oh, Coper saying in chat he thought we had 60 minutes instead of 90. Ah, okay.
Yeah, we typically do 60 during the regular season. Yeah, apologies to Coper for the miscommunication on that, man. But yeah, and Kingdoll, well, what's interesting, Kingdoll is 25 seconds ahead of his 16 flat here. So that's wild. Okay, but the big action right here is Fred against Ganon. Let's see how it goes.
Well, Zelda not playing nice with not spawning in the bottom left. All right, there's 3. Nope, not going to spawn down there again. There's 4. Still no. There's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, no!
Oh, my gracious. Oh, he had done a masterful job controlling that fight, too. And he's just going to reset. He knows it's the finals. In general theory, I understand the concept of wanting to get a run completed and wanting to make sure you have a time on the board. But he knows he's not going to win with a Ganon death. So the reset saves him more minutes to get attempts in here.
I think I saw what happened to him. He had the hit. He had the killing hit with the sword. So Ganon Zelda had turned orange. He was select swapping to the silver arrow and hadn't gotten to the silver arrow yet. He hit the boomerang when he thought he hit the silver arrows and walked right into Ganon.
So we were talking about how runners don't like to pick up the boomerang sometimes because they don't like having it in their inventory. I would not be surprised if that was just a muscle memory situation where he knows how many times he has to hit select to get to silvers, and he hit it one fewer times because he weirdly had a boomerang in his inventory, and he just doesn't typically run with a boomerang.
Yeah. Jacob for making the point.
Friends don't let friends pick up boomerangs, or friends do it all the time. Maybe the lesson is stick with who you are or something. Oh, I don't know.
It's the dance with what brung you. That's what you said before. I mean, there may be something to that.
Yeah, oh man, I can't even imagine. We all these 3 runners. I should have mentioned this at some point. They are stalwarts of the game and have been around Z1R since arguably the first literal race of the game, if not the very, very beginning. Like, they may not have hopped into the very first inaugural race. So we know them pretty well. We know their personalities as runners at this point. And at some point, Fred will probably find entertainment in that boomerang situation. But just a matter of whether his head is at that point now or whether he just gets it back together right now.
Yeah, he'll feel that way in about 20 to 30 minutes. Probably not right now, but we'll see. We can ask him at the end of the event.
Yeah, and just in case anybody's not watching chat, good question that Coper already answered as well. And my font ended up blurry in the bottom right box. That was a very Bush League job I did, but I just want to get a scoreboard on the board.
No, you did it on the fly. You did it on the fly. It looks great.
Hey, yeah, a lot of artistry put into my white text on a black background. But yes, the last run has to start before the end of the timer. So we'll see Fred finish a run, because you're not just going to not finish one. Like, you may stop early sometimes because you think you've done the best you can. But there could be that disaster situation where everybody has problems and you just need to finish one. Kingdoll's at 9, and at his last Triforce, he was 24 seconds ahead of his 16 flat pace.
Yeah, and if he's able to shave time off his 16 flat run from, if you're just joining us, that run was pretty darn early in the chase. I want to say it was like his maybe second overall attempt. That's held up for a while.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So what we often do is after the end of these chases, and by we I mean King Doll does the work on this. He'll go make a VOD where he'll put the runners' best races against each other and like start the timer start the video simultaneously, like edit it down. Because a
Ah,
lot of times it's hard to see what the divergences are in the chase format because they're not like in level 9 at the same time. And so, yeah, I'd be interested to see what the heck Kingdall has done to get this route so stinking good. But he will squeeze every ounce of time he can out of a seed. And he's done that here, it looks like. He's just got to finish this thing off. And Fred's a good wild card here for entertainment purposes now, because I really don't have much of a concept of what sort of his pace is since he doesn't have any splits on the board yet. So a lot of factors still undetermined at this point.
right. Yeah, definitely. And King Doll is at 1330 and change. He's in the staircase that'll spit him out in the bottom right corner. That'll get him on his path to Ganon. He's probably what, like 3 screens away, maybe 3, 4.
Yeah, and one thing King Doll had mentioned to me in his quest to route the seed was deciding which keys to get was a factor. So maybe the runners had picked up different keys. All right, so on his previous TB, he got the Ganon down at 1503.
And this is on Wood Sword. There's 3 hits. Yep, Ganon not playing nice and wanting to spawn on the bottom left. There's 4. Same deal. Oh, took a bop there. And he's going to switch to the bottom right and take a potion hit right here. There's the stun lock. Oh no, we lost it.
Slipped out, but he does get he gets Ganon down. I mean, he's still ahead. He's still like 17 seconds ahead. Yeah.
1443. That's really good. He hits and he hits the reverse block clip on the first try.
This may be the one. I'll be interested to see if King Doll drops the mic after this one, or if he genuinely thinks he can continue and do better. He might just keep going, but this is really good here.
This is going to be what, like 1544 or something?
Yeah, as long as the path to Zelda is consistent. This room's a little annoying. I don't think he got bought quite. And look how many of those guys died to the boomerang. Cobra just mentioned that in chat, where there's not a lot of combat with stuff above 1 HP in the seed. Get your GGs out, King Doll, 1543.
Wow, that's really good.
This may be a situation where the only way he has to save time is to skip the potion. And when you see that 3-heart Ganon fight, I guess he could skip the ring, but that's going to change the key routing for him. That's King Doll's 3rd finish, I believe.
I think you're right.
I didn't put the counter up there because I didn't want to mess myself up and read the numbers wrong. But what'll be interesting, Fred only needs 1 here. So he only needs to finish 1, and he's on Green Tunic. The question is how much time that the Green Tunic saves. Oh yeah, you're right, Smiles Fires. He did reset. He got Ganon down and reset because it was slow one time.
That's right, yeah. So for his split purposes on his stream, for his split purposes, it would have been because you said he ends splits according to when he beats Ganon rather than when he grabs Zelda. So 3 or 2, depending on how you count it, but yeah, either way, for tournament purposes, it's 2.
Yeah, he's basically got like a sub-split, if that makes sense. And you see vanilla runners where they know, they don't always put it on screen, but they'll know like, all right, this magic sword grab is a good time, or this silver arrows grab. That's basically what he does with the Ganon kill, because unlike vanilla, there's a walk between Ganon and Zelda. Yeah, it does look like King Doll is in really good shape here. The Fred is just in total. I love the fact that there's divergence here. Like we haven't seen Fred's completion time yet. He's not on like the exact same route as King Doll. So there is a Fred could come out of nowhere and steal this thing. He could go from NA to 1542 at the buzzer, so to speak. So
Yeah. I mean, and that could be
anything can happen.
definitely, and that could be on this run, or if for some reason this run ends up dying in the next minute or two. He's still got time to pull to. There's still time on the clock. Still 12 minutes and 38 seconds left to start a run. So this isn't the last chance for. This isn't the last chance saloon for Fred. At least not yet.
Yeah, and Cobra makes a good point. We saw Fred get to Ganon, and we knew that he was behind King Doll's pace at that point. I guess to more clearly sum up what I'm saying, we don't know in this run how far ahead of that pace he was. If I had a third monitor, I could have been writing that down. Fred did use that boomerang to help get to a ladder there.
Yeah, he needed it too. He was surrounded on both sides by blue Lionels who were shooting. He got a beam in the back, which, if he gets out of this room unscathed, he should be okay to get the Triforce. But let's see.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not a combat heavy seed, but there are defensive situations where movement matters. But even Red Lionel's just died to a candle flame there. So the death risk is really coming from just the enemies being jerks. It's not like you're required to clear them too many
Right.
times.
Yeah, you're not having to kill a room 8 blue Wizrobes to get past a shutter door or anything. As Fred's going to indeed grab his Triforce without incident, getting out of 6.
Yeah, and that's a good point in chat from Coper there too, that trying to keep the Lionel on the left out of the center row when you're I'm guessing you're talking about when you're coming out. Well, I guess it could be when you're coming out or in to that room. If we're talking about the staircase room, you can almost try to like based on your pathing in the run and which screen. Oh, when you're going in. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, out probably doesn't matter. Yeah, so when you're going in, keep the guy out of your face. Basically, based on the way you run the seed, the spawns will be consistent if you run it the same way every time. So part of developing your route is figuring out your pathing in a way where you get favorable spawns.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with that whole kind of concept, when we were talking earlier about at the beginning of the run, Fred going off the screen where the grave any road, the vanilla any road is, and coming back on to get that blue Octorok on the right side so he could try to force a bomb off of it. That's the type of manipulation that Dunlow is talking about, where you're trying to enter or exit a screen in such a way that the enemies pop up in a certain place so that you can either know where they're going to be and avoid them, or so that you can have them be in a certain place where you want them so you can kill them.
Yeah, I wasn't pushing my button. That's good stuff in chat from Coper. He's sort of clarifying like the level of detail the runners know about the seed. No one knows this seed better. It's not like a vanilla speedrun where you have people on comms who have seen vanilla 1,000 times. These three guys know this seed. So yeah, he's saying there was no way to get the Lionel on the right out of the tunnel in that room. But by him saying there's no way, you can tell the level of investigation the runners do on these things, which is cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
Coper might have a Discord invite already, so if you want to jump in, feel free, man.
yeah, please do. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The level of attention to detail that all three of these runners, who are excellent as regular Z1R runners, but the level of detail and thought that goes into seemingly small decisions that can make the difference here between, do I continue with this run or do I completely reset my clock, is really, really interesting to watch. As Fred's into level 9 at 11:34, he's going to up A to get his health. That'll only cost him about 4.5 seconds, and in he goes.
Yeah, and I think I think Fred may be slightly ahead of the King Doll pace here. It's very close. But if he gets the white sword here, he might trade back some of that time. And he also had a stinking Tektite get stuck in the wall again, but he had to use some bombs. I think that's going to be inconsequential. I don't think there's that many bomb walls or anything, but that's wild that happened twice. But yeah, so Fred's got to get the white sword, so I don't know how far out of the way that is, but that also
it's
might
right
help
there.
him
Hey.
get in faster. Yeah, this is going to be close.
Yeah, and the clock shows 7 minutes and 46 seconds. So if he's able to finish this run, Fred's probably got time for one more full run. He may get several shots at the beginning of it, depending on if he's able to get that initial bomb force or not. But we're coming down to the end here.
And we'll focus on Fred, but King Doll was a little green at his last Triforce too. He was 3 seconds green. So
I didn't
this
see
is still going.
Yeah, it is. You mentioned that this might be this end run for King Doll might be kind of a YOLO run where he does something like skip the potion, which he's picked up early in each of his runs. I did not see if he did that here. I don't know if you saw it or maybe chat saw if that was the case.
Yeah, we that might have to be a chat thing. I certainly have no clue. That's a good point.
You have more of a clue than me, I guarantee you.
Yeah, hey, it's all good, man. You're doing great, dude. I appreciate you jumping in on this.
No, thanks for inviting me. This is fun.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. All right. So Fred. Okay. So our magic number when King Doll killed Ganon, when he completed the Ganon kill, was 1447. So Fred's about. Can he get Ganon down about a minute from now in real time with only 8 hits? Yeah, he's pretty close to Ganon. It's going to be real close.
If he get the RNG for the 50-50 flips when Ganon spawns after getting hit in the bottom left or bottom right have not been kind to Fred the first couple of runs. So if he gets some good RNG, that'll certainly help bridge the gap.
Okay, Cobra made a really good point in chat, and King Doll mentioned this to me earlier today. There's a Lamola room in 9 that he thought, for him personally, skipping that room made him almost a minute slower in 9 because of the safety he would have to take, I guess, or the pathing was longer. But the Lamola, if you did it on Green Tunic, you would need the safety of the red ring. So and Cobra saying that's part of the reason he picked up the red ring. So yeah, it does look like that extra pathing through 9. That time emerged because Fred's going to be into Ganon. Yeah, he's going to be into. If he gets a quick Ganon, he could potentially flirt with second place here. Let's just watch him. Let's just see how it goes.
Got him. That's much better RNG.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so 15-12 with the Triforce grab, 15-15 out of Ganon's room.
Yeah, he's going to be really close to 16-12 here. Just depends on how clean the walk is. Yeah, he didn't have the boomerang, I don't think. Or maybe he didn't just boomerang Ganon. There's the room on the other side of the staircase that I think might be the most high variance room in the path to Zelda. I mean, the variance isn't that high, but you have a couple little annoying enemies in here. Oh, but he came through this and killed him already, maybe. There's some spiral staircase. Maybe he just killed more on his way in.
Okay, there's the door open, so Fred's going to get a run on the board here. He's going to just be 16 and 37 seconds.
Without King Doll's second run, that would have been a frame count situation if they had both finished with.
Yeah, it would have been, because King Doll's 16 flat run was, I want to say, like 20 minutes into the chase. So it would have been an involved analysis. But yeah, GG's for Fred. He's got a run on the board. It's 16 minutes 0.3 seconds. He has time for another run. He's got to get it started in the next 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And he's going to try and do that here now.
Okay, so Fred's going to be into Ganon. Yeah, he's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. Yeah, he's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon. It's going to be real close. He's going to be into Ganon.
Meanwhile, Kingdoll's side, he's in level 2, getting ready to grab his 6th and final Triforce he needs to get into 9 at 10 minutes and 10 seconds.
One thing that's cool here, if you want to see Fred get back in this thing, and it's going to be irrelevant now, but because he got his bomb drop with that blue candle, his failure point for the bomb was only like 17 seconds into the run instead of like 50. So it would have given him a chance to get more runs fired off here, but he got the bomb the very first time.
Yeah, and so that window to reset and try again is quickly closing. So this could be the YOLO run for Fred. We'll have to see in the next 2 minutes and change.
Yeah, and it does seem like, to expand upon what Cooper said in chat, Fred and Kingdoll are running up to those arrows first to get them in hand. Which, oh yeah, Cooper says that lets you skip 2 keys. That's
really
keys
interesting.
Are probably critical, yeah. That's probably what Kingdoll was talking to me about before, where he said the keys are the thing that makes this route. Kingdoll's about 10 seconds ahead of his pace heading into 9 here.
And he's going to grab the safety potion. Yeah. This is interesting. He's not going to YOLO it.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's exactly the same pace in the 9, but at his final Triforce, he was 10 seconds green. So he could really put, and Fred doesn't know this, but he could put Fred in a spot where Fred's going to need an incredible run here. But he's got to, first of all, Fred's capable of an incredible run.
Oh, sure.
Second of all, Kingdoll still got to kill the pig, so a lot of action left.
Yeah, this is not over by any stretch. Even though that clock is down to 1 minute and 30, we could have the YOLO run. I don't know if that's the technical term for it, but this is going to come down to the final push by both Fred and Kingdoll here. Okay, Fred's into 8.
Yeah, the only thing that's interesting about Fred's route, I would, if they took the same path through 9, I would say Fred's route has way faster theoretical potential. But this is just me not knowing if he pays back a lot of time in 9 because of the different route he takes on the way to Ganon. So
yeah, that left mola that Jay Coper mentioned in chat, being problematic and necessitating picking up the red ring if that's the path you go in 9. That's a really interesting wrinkle that, for regular Z1R players might seem kind of inconsequential in an hour and a half seed, for example. But in an event like this where the margins are seconds or in some cases milliseconds, and there's that left molar room, you would think maybe I can get creative and candle boost. That's a very dicey proposition coming in from the left. I don't know how you do that.
You got to be fast, and so Kingdoll knew he didn't want to lose the run to the potion there, and there's 2 elements to that too. Like, the potion going blue looks a little bad, but he's probably got a good enough time that if he had to chug the potion twice on Ganon, he might not PB anyway. So just using the potion there is the way to go. But he is in the Ganon here.
Okay, and we are past the 90-minute mark, so we're in now or never territory as Kingdoll enters the Ganon fight at 13:53, and he's got a stun lock right now.
That is a thing of beauty.
Wow, very nicely done.
Yeah, that's beautiful for him. That's a gold Ganon fight.
Woo.
And that's he's 31 seconds ahead at the Ganon kill. Yeah, he missed the clip, but come on, man, hit the clip. All right.
There you go. He has to be cursing right now after doing the gold Ganon fight. He's like, why can't I do this? It's so hard to do generally, let alone in the pressure of trying to PB on your last run. And Fred took a death to the Ganon
at the buzzer. So Kingdoll has no idea, but get your GGs out for everybody. But Kingdoll is he's racing himself here to improve, and he's sweating that reverse clip that missed, but he is cruising toward the finish and a championship here.
There's the door. My God, he's going to blow the doors off his 1543.
That's incredible.
1512.
Yeah, get your GGs out for King Dog. Get them out for everybody, y'all. That was incredible.
Wow. What a way to close out this 90-minute chase. GG's to all three of our runners, including our champion of RoutleMania 4, King Doll, with a finishing time of 15 minutes and 12 seconds.
And a
Two rooms.
championship here.
There's the
We'll
door.
see
God,
if one or more of the runners wants to hop in here with us for interviews. Man, what a show. I feel like I just took a breath for the first time in 90 however many minutes that was. That's incredible. Incredible 3 times there.
Including our champion. That I'm kind of speechless having seen how that closed out and how our runners attacked. There's just so much to talk about here in this 90 minutes. This is what makes it a really compelling event. Is there's so much that goes on in this 90-minute set of time that you could talk for hours about this. As we welcome into the booth the first one of our three runners, welcome and GG's Jay Coper.
Hey, thanks. I thought I saw someone else come in. Oh, there's Friday.
Yeah, Fred's on his way. Wow, GG's, you played really, really well. Yeah, your initial thoughts on this seed and kind of the whole tournament.
Oh, this is all a lot of fun all the time. You know what? I've realized my biggest issue in the whole seed is that I had a bad route to the wood sword. Like that was the biggest thing. Because that was like 4 or so extra rooms that I was taking instead of just clipping across, and I don't know why I didn't think of that. Anyway, we should wait for them to come in so we can talk about it together.
Okay, well, another of our runners has appeared in the chat. Welcome in GG's to Fred. Fred, GG's and well done.
Thank you. Well done there, Jay Coper. And amazing job to King Doll there. I saw what the final time was. I'm going to have to go back and see that route because that was amazing.
Yeah, I've sent him a DM to let him know he should have an invite. I'm not even going to try to peel back the layers to the depth he would be able to. But in general terms, what he had mentioned to me was that he kept a red ring route and he did wood sword. And one of the reasons he kept the red ring is because that would give him the path, I guess, safety.
The landmo path.
Yeah, he took the landmo path through 9, and he liked that he could get a pretty easy key on the way to the red ring.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And just key-wise, that just didn't quite look as good to me. But cannot blame him for that because that's definitely. I considered trying to go through that way even without the red ring, grabbing a potion early and just trying to plow through and potion up, but just didn't like the feel of it. So, but good game for him to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I'm just hoping King Doll shows it. I'm hoping he didn't just faint at that. He had a gold Ganon fight.
Oh wow!
Buzzer, yeah, it was in his buzzer beater. He had the. I think he got the stun lock on like the first spawn of his wood sword Ganon fight. So he just smashed Ganon. So now I'm worried he might have just like fell out in astonishment at the Ganon fight or something.
Oh, no, yeah, he's in the setup channel.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in here in a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay. I'll stop creating false medical drama then. As we welcome in King Doll. GG's, man.
Yeah, I was about to shut down the game, and then it happened. The perfect Ganon. Wow.
Amazing run, man. I was saying
before you got here, I was worried that you might have fainted at the sight of that Ganon fight because of I know you keep your splits throughout all your attempts in the week, and 936 is on your attempt counter. So if that's an accurate number, then that was your gold Ganon out of 936 attempts. Is that right?
No, it's the counter for the entire BR. So it's like
Oh, okay. All right. So divide that by what? 9 races then, or 8 or something? Okay. All right. Well, I was making that look a little more. I was wondering where you found quite that much time. But still, that was a 1% level Ganon fight. So GG's. Any thoughts on the seed, the chase? You guys feel free to just talk to each other about the seed because that's better than me talking. Oh, King Doll, you can start it off. I didn't address a specific person. Sorry. What'd you think about the seed and the chase?
see. I mean, I don't even know what the others' time was. So. But if they beat this run, then they certainly deserve everything.
So here's your time. I think the other guys logged in, looked at the times on stream. Jay Coper had a 16:12. Fred had a 16 flat, and you had a 15:12. So, GG's, congratulations, man, on the win.
Yeah, this is probably the best 15 minutes of Zelda I've ever played, and I don't know, it was pretty much perfect except for the potion pickup. But I thought, if I get a good Ganon, I'm going to save 20 seconds there anyway, so I might as well pick up this potion. And I used the potion, so it was a good pickup. But that was the only time that was left. Could have been sub 15 if I left it, but then I would have died. So.
And the Lamola room you had to use. So we were talking about Lamolas a little bit before you got in here. Fred went green tunic and avoided that room. Jay Coper went red ring and did the Lamola room as well. But yeah, seeing you use the potion in there just really shows what a difficult path that was to get through. And yeah, you were correct in picking up the potion for sure.
It was so tough to get the health back before Ganon. It was like 3 moblins. And yeah, I used that potion because I thought that I'm going to use it anyway. So I might as well use it right now in this room where I am at the door getting hit.
Yeah, so
for sure.
let me
take it away, man.
Yeah, I just want to ask King Doll. So, Fred and Jay Coper, you may not know kind of the sequence of King Doll's runs. So, fairly early on in the chase, King Doll posted a 16 flat. About, I'd say, halfway to 2/3 of the way through, then posted a 15:43, I believe. And it was on the final run that had the 15:12 that got generated. So, King Doll, I kind of wanted to ask you about your approach when you had the 16 flat on the board and the 15:43 on the board. Did you feel like at that point that you needed to post a time at the end there that was better than 15:43, or were you just kind of trying to perfect things at that point?
I was kind of expecting someone to hit the 15:25-ish something, because that was my PB. So I thought, of course, someone's gonna hit my PB, but I don't know. I mean, it's it's just it's tough to say. But I was thinking that 16 flat, that was like a junk run, just to get it out of the way, and then we can do runs without the first potion. And
Okay.
I mean,
yeah. So one of the reasons, so to that point, Fred and Coper, I mean, you encountered a little bit of bad RNG at various points. Fred, you had some Ganon fights that Ganon was not spawning where you needed him to get a stun lock, or I guess Zelda. You also had a very interesting scenario where you had 2 runs where some tech types did not cooperate with you in level 9. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh gosh, the Tektites are evil.
They really are.
Yeah, I mean, just having those 5 hit point ones, I'm like, okay, let's try to get to them. And then I was able to get on one of the runs, got near the end, and one of the Tektites I shot with an arrow, which of course didn't kill it, but knocked it down to sit above in the HUD. And it hopped around the HUD for like a good 10-15 seconds before it finally came down through. And then the final run, the run where I think got the finish there, I got a clock right as one of the Tektites got knocked into the HUD. So I had enough room to be able to bomb it with 2 bombs, but it became extremely close at that point.
Yeah, that was wild because I think you were shuttered into that one too, so you might have had an alternate path out, but at least he was reachable by bomb. But yeah, that's I use this as evidence, I guess. The next time someone comes in feature suggestions and is like, "We shouldn't have Tektites in dungeons because they ruined my run," you can be like, "Well, you know what? They ruined mine too, so they're staying in."
So I think you're telling me then that we have to start putting P-hats into dungeons. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not taking it that far. We also need to add the thing where the flute automatically kills them. If we do that, then I would accept it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so BBQ, you got any questions for these guys? We were out of breath the entire time watching y'all. It's hard to even think of questions other than holy crap, that was fast Zelda. So y'all got good reviews in the chat and everything. Like, you guys put on a heck of a show tonight. And as we mentioned before y'all were in here, it's nice to see three people that put so many hours into this game and done so much for the community and been such a big part of it since the beginning come out here and put on a show where your combined time is like 47 minutes. So GG's to all three of you. I think that's all I got. BBQ, you got anything for our runners?
Now I have some very poorly written scribbles on a piece of paper, but no, I think you summed it up very, very well. This was, as someone coming in who has only tangentially watched a little bit of the event coming up to this, seen some of you do practice runs or some of the preliminary matches, seeing this type of event in a 90-minute blitz to the finish is just a really, really interesting way to watch the game be played. And as Dunlow and I were kind of talking about with chat during all your runs, it gives you a lot of food for thought about how to think about the game when you're playing it, quote unquote, regular, as in, a standard Z1R seed, if there is such a thing. So it was really entertaining to watch, nonstop action and world-class play by all three of you.
Yeah, to sum up a little bit to King Doll and Fred, what I was telling you guys before, yeah, I think the biggest problem with my route, objective problem, no matter what, was that I was taking a bad route to the wood sword and didn't even realize it until I watched Fred clip down there, because I was going through the any road and then walking down, and it's like 4 extra screens or something, now that I'm looking at that. So that by itself is enough for the difference between Fred and me. But yeah, I have no idea how I would have caught King Doll. I'd really have to watch his run a lot, because even with the potion, he's getting close to 15 minutes. My route was basically trying to minimize overworld screens. So I did not get the silvers early. I didn't get any money secrets or anything. I just did the whole loop of dungeons at the bottom, 6, 1, 3, 8, 7, and then back to 2, and then to 9, since 2 was on the way to 9. But yeah, doing it that way required getting the 2 extra keys to get the Triforce in level 7. So I'm not sure if that, I don't know how you route in 7 otherwise. I guess you're just going to 2 early, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm not sure. It's possible that I'm thinking it's probably going to be like a combination of year 2 routes. That is most likely the fastest one, in my opinion.
This would be a fun one to combine the routes. We had talked about this in the Discord channel earlier. There had been some chatter of, what about if after one of these things, the runners kind of work together to figure out the super ultra mega, like, perfect route almost. And I think the divergences were so slight at times. I know that at least King Doll and Fred had a Kananaki in at one point. Fred went green tunic and white sword. Cooper, you were red ring and white sword. Kingdoll was wood sword and red ring. So it's really interesting to see even the biggest items in the game. You guys sort of combined them in different ways. And we talked like an hour ago about how the 3 people running the rates in the boxes know the seed better than anyone else. So because you guys didn't all run the same route, I think it'll be very interesting for all 3 of you to go back and watch this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going back and seeing that because this is going to be a really great thing, especially seeing again all the different routes and trying to put them together somehow into some type of master route. That's going to be a really fun combination.
At the start, I was trying to get silvers and bow first, but it didn't work because you needed a key for 8. And my first route was dipping into 7 to get the key and then back to 8 and the bow.
Yeah, that's what Fred was doing.
But it didn't really work for me. It lost time, so I had to get 6 in there to get the ship floating.
That's a good metaphor. Love that. Yeah, let's keep the ship floating here. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you were just floating, man. I think you were. I think you had some motorboat action in there, and I don't know if I can say motorboat without giggling, but it's also a real type of boat as well.
It's a metaphor. It counts. It's good.
Yeah, for sure. KD, as the champ, you got any final thoughts here? GG's to all 3 of you guys. Like I said, this was impressive, but yeah, final thoughts on the win tonight.
Yeah, I've been fighting for this, and now we have 4 seasons and 4 different winners. So that's great. And I'd like to thank everyone that joined and put in the time. It was tough to get this BR going. It sat with 5 players for 3 weeks, and then suddenly it was 12, and it was time to go. But yeah, I thought that this route kind of routed itself, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happened because once you decide to go silver 6, there's no way to do it any other way. The way I see it, but it's going to be interesting to see. I was hoping that someone would do 4 with the any key, but the walk to 4 was like, oh my god, this is 40 years in the desert to get there.
I'll be honest. I considered that as part of my opening routing, and they'll go into 6, get the ladder and stuff, and then get the wood sword and then world wrap to get over to 4. That was something I was considering doing, but the problem was that I couldn't get through 6 with keys with swordless. I needed 1 key to come back, and I just did not have that key. I guess maybe I could have gone down into the now I'm thinking about it, if I had a bomb to spare, which I'm not sure if I did, I could have gotten that Wallmaster room. Oh no, it was a Landmo room in 6. Never mind. Yeah, Moldorm room, sorry. So never mind, but that was the issue, was there were a couple of rooms there that I just could not kill with, just going straight in there with just the candle. And otherwise that was, as I said, a route I was considering early, and just was like, yep, nope, that's not an option apparently.
I wonder if you perhaps could have got your early bomb from the Octrock and then went and got the silvers or whatever, and then saved out of 2 and hired reset the console, and then you could bomb like a dark nut out on the way to 1 or 6. I mean,
yeah, it's possible. I think one of the main rooms that was an issue was actually the 3 red lever room that you hit after that Dodongo, because you had to
Lionel,
get them
not
and
Beaver,
choose. Yeah, Lionel. Sorry, yeah, we're right. But 2 of them would always spawn on the other side of the river. So pretty much you had to either have a bunch of bombs, which you just ate 2 by the Dodongo, or get really lucky on the candling. So you need at least a bomb or 2 there, and just the resources were tough. It's certainly possible. I think that could be a route. I just don't know if the time you'd have to spend doing all that would end up costing you.
Yeah, there seemed to me to be. I certainly wanted to look for a way to do something swordless. When the white sword and the wand are both in 9, that really challenges things. And then it just seemed like there was too much little bits of combat where it didn't seem worthwhile. And I didn't even consider getting a different bomb. Or I don't think I even went 2 screens to the left there. Like I went one screen to the left, and I was like, oh, "This is far enough." And I didn't look to see that there was a blue aqueduct there. I think, but either way, I had a few blind spots in my roading. It's okay.
Great race to both
GG
of you.
guys, and congrats King Doll, and nice second finish there, Fred. You kind of cut it close.
Just a little bit there, but yes, great race, King Doll. Congratulations on destroying that route. You did an amazing job with that. It's also always awesome to get to play you, and it was great to do that. And thank you, Speed Gaming, for putting this on, and to Mr. Dunlow and BBQ for being on the commentary and Smile behind the scenes with the tracking, doing all this and putting this all together. It was really cool. I'm really looking forward to catching this back. But thank you again so much, everyone.
Of course. I had a blast, as y'all can probably imagine. BBQ, you brought us into this thing. Do you want to be the pro host and take us home?
I'll do my best. This was a pleasure to watch. This was 90 minutes of controlled chaos that was just so much action coming at you and world-class play by all three of our finalists tonight. It was a wonderful event. Thank you for the opportunity to sit in with you and learn about kind of how this event came to be and how it's different than maybe anything some of our normal Z1R runners or viewers may have seen in the past in a very, very interesting and fun way. So it's a great event. Can't wait for RoutleMania 5. So thanks to...
That sounds like a sign up. That sounds
All
like
right.
a sign up to me. But
Sign up start anytime.
I'll remind you.
All right. So yeah, that can happen at any time. So yeah, on behalf of Mr. Dunlow and our runners and Smilefires doing all the great work behind the scenes to put on this stream on Speed Gaming. Thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your evening. We will see you next time. Thanks very much.